Hello everyone, Zane here and welcome to another Final Fantasy XIV video. So today I want to teach you guys how to craft in Final Fantasy XIV. Now usually when I make crafting videos, I just tell you guys what to use, but not really go over the abilities and how they work in conjunction with each other. So this is hopefully going to help you guys understand the abilities and how they work together. So let's go over the three basic stats. 1. CP stands for crafter points. You need that to use actions. Craftsmanship works with the progress bar, and control works with the quality bar. You always want to make sure that you use gear that requires craftsmanship and control and or CP on it. Okay, so you have your progress bar, you have your quality bar, and you have your durability. Once the durability hits 0, the item breaks and you'll have to start over anew. Sometimes you'll get the items back, sometimes you won't, but that is going to be random. You also have your conditions, which will change periodically as you use abilities, which also can use to make crafting that much easier. So first off, let's go over the abilities that you will ultimately use. Okay, so synthesis works with your progress bar, and touch abilities work with your quality bar. Of course, each ability will have different efficiencies, which is the strength and success rate. Some abilities have a lower than 100% success rate, so some of those aren't going to be 100%. So make sure you read the tooltips before you actually use them. Okay, so basic synthesis is your basic ability for your progress bar, which has 120 efficiency, which is the strength, and 100% success rate, so it will never fail. The higher your craftsmanship goes, the higher this will be effective, increasing your progress bar. Basic touch is your first basic quality ability, which has 100% efficiency and 100% success rate, and it will increase quality at an increased rate the higher your control stat becomes. So when you first are crafting, these are the only two abilities that you ultimately will have available to you. The reason why you want to make gear or items high quality is because gear will give you extra stats, which is mandatory for making high-end gear, and high quality materials gives you a half-filled quality bar to make high quality that much easier. So let's go into a recipe and do trial synthesis. This allows you to actually practice rotations, trial and error, without really wasting resources. So if you go to your calculations tab, you can see exactly what your abilities will give you in terms of quality and or progress. So we're going to go into the quality section. We can see that basic touch is going to give us 425. Now when we do our quality abilities, we have a trait that gives us what is called inner quiet. This used to be an ability, but now it's a trait. It will give you a stack of inner quiet, which will increase your efficiency to your touch abilities. So if we do basic touch, we will get 1 stack of inner quiet. So we went from 425, and now we have 467 when we do it again. And this will increase the more we get our inner quiet stacks up, to a max of at least 10 stacks, and that is where it will cap out. So if we continue to go and our durability hits 0, we have failed the craft. So it's very important that you do not break the item. Now let's go over our next ability, which is going to be Master's Mend. This is one of the very few abilities that you can use to increase your durability, and this is only something you should be using if, number 1, you are going to fail the craft and you need more durability, and 2, should only be used like once because it costs 88 CP just to use this. As well as basic touch requires 18 CP and basic synthesis requires nothing, so there's no downside of using this. So if we go into their craft again, and we drain it to about, let's say, 10 durability, then you use Master's Mend, and it gives us back at least 30 durability. Okay, so that's how you basically use Master's Mend. Now let's go over our RNG abilities, or random number generator. That's basically what that means if you're new to that term. So hasty and rapid synthesis are our RNG abilities because they have a chance of failing. So a 40% chance of failing and a 50% chance of failing. Rapid synthesis has a 500% efficiency rate, so it's very powerful and only should be used in certain situations where you need a massive amount of progress. Hasty touch has an efficiency of 100, but it costs no CP. But it does have a combo ability called daring touch, which basically has the same success rates, but the efficiency is increased to 150 when used before hasty touch. And there will be other abilities that will be comboed off of each other. So again, these should only be used in Hail Mary instances or really extremely powerful and hard crafts. Ultimately, you can skip these entirely. Now let's use these in an example here. So hasty touch first. So the 40% chance of failure took over, so it ended up breaking or failing the ability, and we got a good condition. So since we're on the topic of conditions, you got good, excellent, normal, and poor, which is the base. So if you get a good condition, your quality only increases by 1.75 times higher than normal. Okay? And you also have abilities that will light up when you get a good or excellent condition. That includes Tricks of the Trade, which basically gives you 20 CP. No durability is lost when using abilities like this. You have Precise Touch, which will increase your inner quiet stacks by 2. So it's like using 2 abilities in 1, but you only lose 10 durability. Has 150 efficiency and 100% chance of actually succeeding. Only can be used during good and excellence. The other ability is called Intensive Synthesis, which gives you 400% efficiency and only can be used on good or excellence with 100% chance of succeeding. What you use is going to be determined by what you need most. A lot of the times you want to use it on Precise Touch because you want to get that quality bar higher up. When it comes to rotations and macros, you don't really need conditions because you ultimately would figure out a rotation that works without using those because conditions are RNG. So if you do not need to use like an intensive or precise touch and your durability is too low for them, then you would use Tricks of the Trade instead, or if you need that CP to continue doing other abilities. So we're just going to use precise. So let's go back to hasty touch. Still failed, so Master's Mend. So as you can see, it's always never consistent. So this is what crafting used to be back in A Realm Reborn. Okay, so now we got Daring Touch. Now, some abilities will combo off each other, so when you do that, the other combo abilities will also light up as well. But here's the thing. When it comes to a combo ability, you must use that combo ability, otherwise you'll lose it. So if you Master's Mend it, Daring Touch goes away, and now we must start the combo all over again. So make sure that you don't accidentally waste the combo ability. Okay? So that is basically how Hasty Touch works. And Rapid Synthesis, if we can get it to work, gives you a massive chunk of progress because of that 400 efficiency. So these abilities are basically hit or miss, and you ultimately don't really need them, but they can be helpful when they do actually work. Next, let's talk about our durability buffs. You have the Waste Not ability at level 15. Now this is going to reduce the amount of durability loss by 50%. So basically, if it's 10 durability loss, you'll just lose 5. If it's 20 durability loss, you will lose 10 instead. Okay, so Waste Not will last 4 turns, and it has a hefty CP cost of 56. So usually when you are crafting, you want to make sure that you use Waste Not in conjunction with other abilities to use less durability, but get more moves in your rotations to make sure that you reach your 100% quality and your progress bar. At level 47, you get the increased Waste Not 2, which is going to be twice the amount of length, which is 8 steps instead of 4, but the CP cost goes up to 98%, so basically it's just a buffed version of Waste Not 1. The other ability, which is going to help with your durability, is called Manipulation, and this is locked behind the level quests in Stormblood, so it's very important that you do your class quests. Now, this restores 5 points of durability after each step for the next 8 steps, and it has a CP cost of 96. What they do not tell you is if the item is going to break, this cancels out manipulation, okay? Because breaking item super exceeds any and all abilities, okay? So the 5% or the 5 points of durability recovery gets negated by the breakage of the item. So if you have durability left over, manipulation will take over and you'll get back 5 points of durability. So let's go into an example here. So let's go ahead and drain our durability to 10. Use manipulation. So if we use a non-durability loss ability, we gain back our 5 points. But if we use something that takes away 20 durability, manipulation does not give us back our 5 and the item breaks. Okay, so let's use Waste Not 2. Let's do a basic touch. So now I lost 5 instead of 10. So basically that's how that works. So now let's use Waste Not 2 and manipulation is drop it down to, let's say, 5 or 10 durability. Okay, so here we have 10 durability left, and I believe Prep Touch is going to do 20 durability loss, which is going to drop it down to 10, and it breaks, because Waste Not 2 wasn't able to reduce the durability down to at least 5, and manipulation gets cancelled out because the breaking of the item super exceeds the abilities. So manipulation is very tricky if you don't know exactly how it works. Next, let's talk about buffs. So we have a couple of buffs, which is going to be innovation, veneration, which is going to be progress, and quality. Now these only increase the efficiency of the touch and synthesis abilities. They do not affect your progress and or quality stats like control and craftsmanship. Okay, so those stats won't increase. The only way that they will increase is either by using food, potions, a specialist stone, or actually melding your gear. So these only will increase the efficiency. So veneration will increase the efficiency by 50% for 4 steps, and veneration is for the touch ability for 4 steps. Now you ultimately want to use these when you are increasing your quality and your progress. And you want to use them in conjunction with manipulation and Waste Not 2. Or Waste Not, depending on what you have. So ultimately you're going to use this when you're starting your rotation or in starting your quality increase. So with the conjunction of Waste Not 2 and manipulation, basic touch durability loss is cancelled out. Because you're using 10 durability, Waste Not cuts that down to 5, and manipulation gives you back your 5, so there's no point in losing durability. So that's why your durability does not reduce when you are using those two in conjunction with each other. Now we have our basic synthesis with veneration. So now we're doing 660 instead of the normal, which is 440. Okay, so that's how you use veneration and innovation in conjunction with Waste Not 2 and manipulation. Next, let's go over Great Strides and byregot's Blessing. So Great Strides is going to give you your next touch ability with a 100% increase to efficiency for the next 3 steps. And byregot's is going to use your inner quiet stacks that you accumulated for one giant burst of quality. Now this is going to be 100% efficiency plus 20% for each inner quiet stack, and it's going to be up to 300%. So it's going to be additive, okay? So usually you want to use Great Strides at the end of the rotation with byregot's and innovation to give you a giant boost in quality. But some people use Great Strides in between the touch abilities with innovation to give them a little bit of a boost at the beginning or the mid of the rotation as well at the end. But usually they would use other abilities that have low durability loss and CP costs to make sure they have room for great strides. I personally never really use great strides except at the end of my rotations. So let's use these in an example here. Let's get a couple of stacks in our quiet. We're going to use innovation and great strides now. So we ended up getting 29.75. So without great strides, as you can see, it's much, much lower. And just one more time. So we got our 10 stacks in quiet. So if we look at byregots, you can see we got 25.50. Use innovation, we get 38.25. Use great strides, you get 63.75. To give you a giant crap of quality to go towards your high quality rate. So that's how great strides and byregots innovation works in conjunction with each other. Next, let's go over your first turn abilities. We got 3. You have muscle memory, which goes for your progress, and reflect, that gives you 2 stacks of inner quiet for your quality. The other one is trained eye. This only will work if you're 10 levels above the recipe that you're making, so level 100, so anything level 90 and below, you can use trained eye. It has a CP cost of 250, but it gives you 100% quality. So basically this will replace reflect, but only reflect is used if you're doing something that's within 10 levels. So trained eye won't be able to be used. Muscle memory will give you a buff that you can use on your next progress ability, so you have enough steps to use manipulation, waste not 2 veneration, because muscle memory takes away 10 durability, and has an efficiency of 300%. Let's go into the example. So you have reflect first, so it gives you 2 stacks of acquired to give you a head start. Muscle memory. So now we go from 440 to 880, so it would add on to it. So then you would do manipulation, waste not 2, and veneration. Usually this is your opener for progress. And now we'll buff that, and then the buff goes off, and it goes back to normal. So if we get rid of veneration, and we'll see that goes back down to 440. Okay. So now if we go something 10 levels below myself, we can now do trained eye and blammo 100% quality. So that's good for you doing old stuff, literally split like collectibles and stuff like that. So it definitely can come in handy. So now let's go over the 20 and 5 durability abilities. So you have prudent touch and prep touch for quality, groundwork and prudent synthesis for progress. Prudence cannot be used with waste not or waste not 2, but can be used with manipulation. Groundwork does not give you the full capacity if below 20 durability. And prep touch gives you 2 stacks that render quiet, so it's basically like 2 basic touches in one. Okay, so this is the fastest way to get 10 stacks of render quiet. So ultimately, when you're using waste not and manipulation, these will get cut by 10 durability loss because of waste not 2, and then you get back your 5 with manipulation. So let's go ahead and use these in an example. So manipulation, waste not 2. As you can see, prudent is grayed out, so you can't use it. So if you use prep touch, which does 20 durability loss, it now does 5 because you're getting back from manipulation. And you can see we got 2 stacks of inner quiet. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So it takes about 5 to get you to your max inner quiet stacks. Or 4 if you use reflect first. So if we look at your groundwork, we are doing 1321. But if we go ahead and increase our durability, now it's up to 1321 because we are above 20%. So let's go ahead and continue until waste not falls off. Now you can see we can use prudent synthesis now. So if we use it with manipulation, we don't lose any durability because manipulation cancels it out. Okay, so it doesn't move. So that's basically how those four work in conjunction with each other. Only reason why you would use prudent synthesis or prudent touch is to get those inner quiet stacks while also maintaining your durability on 40 durability recipes. Now let's talk about the other combo abilities and also delicate synthesis. So basic touch has combo abilities, which is standard touch and advanced touch, as you can see here. Advanced touch actually has another combo ability called observe, which I showed you earlier, which goes straight into the advanced touch, skipping basic and standard. If you use basic touch, you also can go into refined touch, which is like the precise touch without the good or excellence, and it gives you 2 stacks of inner quiet. Delicate synthesis works with both progress and quality, but there's a buff or a trait at 94 that gives you a buff to your progress up to 150% instead of 100. Let's go into an example here. So observe first, and that goes into advanced. Basic goes into refined touch. And then you get your basic, standard, and advanced touch. If you do the basic to standard, you do save yourself a lot of durability, but that will prolong your rotation. Those of you who are mid-maxers or time versus money thing, then you ultimately are going to want to go with prep touch over the basic, standard, and advanced combos. But that will be determined on the player and how they want to do their rotations. So let's get rid of that excellent. Observe to get rid of the poor, and delicate, as I said, works for both. It's not as efficient, but it can help to get that last bit of quality, but also finish your progress as well, especially if you have 10 durability or even 5. Okay, so those are the combo abilities as well as delicate synthesis in action. Now let's go over the miscellaneous abilities. So we have final appraisal. Stop your progress from completing with 1 point left. This is helpful when doing expert recipes, which have conditions that are not used in normal recipes, like malleable, which increases your progress by a crap ton more than usual. So if you land on malleable on a progress that would complete the item, final appraisal, which will not reduce any of the buffs that you have, which is great, that's why the clock symbol is there. But it also takes up a spot in a macro, so you can use this to stop you from completing the item so you guys can continue with your quality. So it's very niche. You have Train Finesse, which only will work at 10 stacks if you're quiet, but has no durability loss. So this is a great way to increase your quality, but keeping your durability so you can use your finisher. Immaculate Mend, the opposite of Master's Mend, it will completely restore durability, but at a hefty cost of 112 CP. And Train Perfection, my best ability, which will negate any negative effects on abilities such as Prep Touch and Groundwork. So if you use Train Perfection on Groundwork and you're below 20% durability, the durability or the progress reduction is what I'm trying to say here, gets negated, which is great. So any negative effects, Train Perfection nullifies it. The other abilities are going to be Specialists, which I had to switch to a Specialist. So let's see if I can find one. Okay. So Specialist is, we unlock this in like Heaven's Word. You have Specialist abilities, which must be used with a Delination, which is special currencies. Okay. So you have at least 3. Careful Observation, which is going to use 3 Delinations to hopefully bait out a certain condition. You only can use 3 per recipe. Heart and Soul, any ability that you requires good or excellence, like Precise, Intensive, and Trickster Trade, you can only use at least 1. Quick Innovation is a 1-step innovation that you guys can use, but make sure that you have all the other buffs first before Quick Innovation goes up. So those are the 3 specialist actions. The traits that you'll have is Inner Quiet, which I mentioned earlier. Practice makes perfect for the trial synthesis. Basic Synthesis Mastery increases your basic synthesis to 120 efficiency. Quality Insurance increases the good condition from popping. Rapid synthesis mastery gives you 500% efficiency. Careful synthesis, which is a buff version of basic synthesis, which I forgot to go over, goes up to 180. Groundwork mastery goes up to 360 efficiency. Delicate goes up to 150 for synthesis, and expedience is the combo off of hasty touch. So careful is the buff version of basic synthesis, which is 180 efficiency. So ultimately you want to use this over basic. Okay, so that's basically all of the abilities and what they do and how they kind of work together. So let's kind of go over what I just mentioned. So we'll just do manipulation, waste not 2, veneration. So our buff to that goes up to 834. Groundwork goes up to 1668. So that's a buff version. So you want to conjunction that with muscle memory if you're going to do that for a little bit of a boost. So let's get ourselves 10 seconds of quiet. Now we can use Train Finesse. And it also has its unique animation. So it's, as you can see here, it's the best way to get your quality up as you get 10 stacks of Inner Quiet. Immaculate Mend, 100%. Here you have your Heart and Soul. So now you can use any ability that needed a good or excellent. You don't get the condition, you just get the effect of it. So as you can see there, you get your Quick Innovation. I can't really use Final Appraisal right now, so I'll go to something a little bit weaker. So let's use Final Appraisal. Then we'll just do Groundwork. As you can see, it leaves you with just 1. So let's try to get our durability down to below 20% or 20, so I can show you Groundwork with Train Perfection. Alright, so we got down to 10%. So now you can see that Groundwork works at full capacity at 4186. So it ultimately, like I said, negates negative effects. So if I use Train Perfection with Prep Touch, durability loss, 0. So it also reduces the durability to absolute 0. So if I use, let's see here. Let's say I use Manipulation with Waste Not 2. So let's drain our durability. And I'm going to use Train Perfection. Now what do you think will happen to our durability when it comes to using Train Perfection? Let's find out. You get durability increase because the durability loss is negated by Train Perfection, so Manipulation will get their 5 points back. So as you can see, they work together when you use Waste Not 2 and Manipulation as a team. So they do work together in mysterious ways. So basically that's how everything works together in tandem with each other. So when I say do this, that, and other thing in my rotation videos, you now know how they work in conjunction with each other. Alright guys, so I know all this might be confusing, so try not to take it all at once. So if you guys have any questions you want answered, or if you want some clarification, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll be happy to help you guys out with any problems that you have, because this might be confusing to some people. So I'm always open to help if you actually need the extra help. Alright guys, so that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the rest of my channel for more Final Fantasy XIV content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you're new for more Final Fantasy XIV content and help with the YouTube algorithm. If you guys want to support my channel even further, consider becoming a YouTube member, Patreon supporter, or help me on Ko-Fi. The links for those will be in the description down below, as well as my Discord. and the extra special shout out to the members on screen. So until next time, may you forever walk in the glorious light of Lord Bahamut, and always remember to keep forging ahead.